Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Capricorn energy. And like usual on the channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Capricorn. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Capricorn. We all tap into Capricorn energy and we either harness it in a more high vibrational way or a more worldly or shadowy way. And so we battle within ourselves if we might want to move forward in life a little differently than we have been. We'd have to kind of the bottom row, being a little shadowy, can represent our fears or some insecurities or something. And it also could just kind of represent our comfort zone. And when we're going to move forward differently, the reason for the top row's reading is the Two of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy, which can be, we have to pick up our investment in an old way of living life and viewing life, or work through some past pain and heartbreak or something. Might have to distance ourselves from certain friend groups or relationships or something to move forward in life differently. And so some people right now could be debating doing that. Other people already finished the debate and they are moving forward in life differently. And some people may never finish the debate. And they'll keep juggling all their life, is what the Two of Pentacles can talk about. And other people may have no problem with living their life the way it is. And it's like, why would I live life any differently? And they're happy living their life the way they are. Just not everybody who comes in contact with them wants to live their life that way. And those people might decide to move on. And then the bottom row can also represent more shadowy people, and shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil. And all of us have our shadow nature, and some people indulge your more shadow nature. They want to be immature, bossy, controlling, prideful, egotistical, defensive, indulge in things to make themselves feel better instead of choosing love. Make their life about all these things that they think are more important than love. And high vibe energy is about being more balanced. That's what the Two of Pentacles can also represent. I do have my worldly nature. I also have my emotionally intuitive, loving nature. And I want a balance of these things in my life. It's in the energy of balance that we move forward more swiftly. It's kind of like driving your life kind of in the ditch and being in the ditch trying to drive your life forward, or like not all four tires on your car being aired up. So high vibe energy is maintaining balance within yourself, between your worldly nature, your more hopeful believing nature. Kind of interesting in this card, it would be that the person is standing on the ground, and in the background is the emotions, and then the two ships, kind of these two different dreams that we have. In our worldly nature, we could be pretty inspired by these things of the world, which includes like our lust and our greed and our self-indulgent nature. But in our emotional nature, there's other things that we could want. And it's trying to find balance between the two of them, that, we have free will and we have to make decisions in our life. And it's kind of trying to find a balance of both, you know, kind of cut out the extremes because with free will, you have to make these decisions and something has to be sacrificed. And you don't want to sacrifice too much of one thing in favor of the other thing. It's like trying to find that balance. And some people, life's about going on this journey and learning these lessons. And some people have not found balance yet. And they may never find balance. So Capricorn energy can be about kind of what we view as victorious and successful. If that's us being about ourselves or indulging ourselves, that's what we're going to think is victorious and successful. If it's more about these things of the world, that's what we're going to make our life about. And in the top row, we start out with the Empress and the King of Pentacles. I view the King of Pentacles as Capricorn energy, where you've learned these lessons in life. You've grown and matured yourself. And the Devil then can kind of be about facing your fears and to get more balance within yourself. Yes, you want these things of the world, but you also want motivated and inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness. In high vibe, the King of Pentacles would be like an emotionally mature, balanced relationship where people are who they say they are, not kind of wearing a false mask. And because emotionally, in the Empress energy, you have done this work within yourself to love yourself, because the Empress in high vibe is about love, and the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. The masculine cards can represent how we're presenting ourselves in the world, and the action that we're taking. Emotionally, high vibe people have learned to love themselves. The reason for the bottom rose reading is the Fool card, where we can still be just more fired up about the world or ourselves, and maybe shadowy energy can be being more codependent, looking to other people to love us. Do we want to be in relationships and friendships and work together with people cooperatively from an energy of love? Yes. But high vibe people have learned, I need to learn to love myself. And King of Pentacles would be kind of like knowing your worth and value. Take the lessons that you've learned from all these life experiences to stand up for your truth. And if some other people want to repeat some patterns of ways of interacting in friendship or relationship, that is like, I've already been there and done that, and you can sometimes meet people in the world, regardless of what age you are. You can meet people who are much older than you, and they're much more like petty, envious, jealous, catty, bully. It's like people who act kind of like ninth graders, and it's just like, oh my gosh, yeah, no. Been there, done that. I don't want to do that. Or they're just more fired up and inspired to be more about themselves for these things of the world, and they're not very balanced. And you could have gotten in some places where people, because it's the reason why the reading came out, that you over time you could realize people maybe kind of are two-faced. They present themselves, oh no, I'm not more immature, I'm not more about myself, I'm not more about these things, I'm this just and fair and emotionally mature person. You should work here, you should be my friend, you should date me, you should marry me. But then as time goes by, you kind of realize that they kind of juggle the truth. They kind of go back and forth. And then they want you, maybe because you love them, to keep moving forward with them, and you juggle the truth too. And so some people right now are in, the devil can kind of represent these institutions of the world, but workplaces, friendships, relationships. But the devil card looks just like the lover's card, except that instead of an angel there, it's the devil, so it's a little shadowy. And in the devil card, the people have chains and shackles on them. And partly what the devil can mean is that it's people we have some kind of worldly connection with. They are our family member, they're a relative, they're in a friend group or a family group, group of people we're with, an organization, a workplace. And sometimes you can be a very loving person and just and fair and trying to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And you have other people that are kind of like, move forward here, keep doing this. But you could see that they juggle the truth. So in some of those cases, some people are like, you know what, I'm going to let you move on ahead. And I'm going to, I think, invest in loving myself, kind of getting more clear about my truth. I've kind of seen the truth that you're kind of two-faced, or maybe more about yourself or more about the world, because shadowy people can always try to present themselves, again, as more high vibe. But as time goes by, you kind of realize that was kind of like a false mask that they wore. And over time, they can be more bossy or controlling or petty or immature, or hope that because you love them, that then they can start kind of not walking the talk, and think because you love them. And the devil can be that, because you love them or because they're your family member, that you'll keep staying in it, even though because they're hoping you'll go back and forth about, we can all have fear about wishing some people who might harness this energy in a more shadowy way. Again, people who initially presented them as just and fair and loving people, but then as time went by, they seemed to be a little more shadowy. Then we might be like, you know what? I do have love for you, but I'm going to kind of distance myself from you, and I'm going to face my fears, and I am going to pick up my investment in you, or I'm not going to maybe hang out with you as much as I did, or completely pick up my investment in you. And I'm not going to let my fears make me keep juggling the truth of the situation. If I don't think this is just and fair, and I don't think people are treating each other the way they like to be treated, and people could be trying to manipulate my loving nature or want to be in the relationship with me for the wrong reasons, to indulge in it for status or ego or image, that's not why I want to be in a relationship. And so some people could be doing that right now. Some people are in the midst of it. Some people already got out of it. And then as for the people who already got out of it, they let those people go and juggle or indulge or do whatever or wear their false mask with someone else. And then as you're moving forward, some of you could have decided to maybe start investing in your own unique talent, skills, and interests. Is kind of what the pentacles can be in your truth, and things that really drive and motivate you. And part of that could, the devil can just represent these things of the world. Like maybe you needed to get out of a job and you went to go look for a different job, and then it is a more worldly based institution kind of, and they offered you a new beginning. And so you're moving forward maybe in a new job, but the devil can just represent, also kind of human beings. We do have this dualistic nature. The devil could be that we're attracted to them, we find them charming, something like that. And maybe then the Two of Pentacles can be, let's get to know each other. And, I've learned these lessons in life. I don't want to repeat an old pattern. So I'm going to be willing to get to know people. But if I realize someone juggles the truth, kind of hasn't picked their path, in a world of duality where we have free will to align with and build foundations more inspired by hope and faith and belief and love, or kind of something else, you might realize that there's some people in your life who, or that you meet as you move forward, you'll see who you should keep moving on from, who you're maybe willing to keep getting to know to see how things go. If it's a workplace, maybe, or it could be anybody that you meet too, that to just keep maintaining balance in it until you maintaining balance within yourself. That would be high vibe energy. Maybe working together with other people, maybe not getting more in a relationship with them until it seems like they're more balanced within themselves. Like initially, say someone could kind of, like, say you feel like someone's attracted to you, but maybe it is a little more lust or something, right? And it's like, oh, cool your jets. Let's get to know each other and get kind of more grounded and balanced, because I don't want to get in a relationship just for that reason as the foundation for the reason to get in the relationship. Is it good to be attracted to people as the foundation part of the relationship? Yes, but it also, we have to work through that phase. of getting to know each other to get a little more grounded. So, a person is a human being and it isn't like, oh my gosh, I just find you so attractive or I find you whatever, that's kind of more the driving factor. Now, the other thing, the way I kind of view the devil is that when we get in relationships with people who are more on the same page as us, it does require us to maintain more balance within ourselves. And sometimes, if we're in relationships with people who, again, if they're more immature or they're more fearful or they're more defensive or they're more codependent or something, right? Then it maybe doesn't really challenge us in our belief system. So that's how I can kind of view the devil. When we get in more mismatched relationships, you could view someone who's more immature, shadowy, as kind of like the devil. And if someone who's kind of more immature, shallow, or bossy, or controlling, or fearful of love, they could view you kind of like the devil because you challenge their belief systems, and you continuing to be in a relationship with them kind of challenges your belief systems. So and that's kind of the devil, right? Kind of challenging our belief systems. And if we get in a relationship with someone who, well, we also, with some of the people, might find they're a good mix of both. They have these things of the world that we could like about them. They could be stable, they could be grounded, we could find them attractive or charming, and they seem to want to be in a relationship with you. And you also could be playing that role to some other people. And, again, people could want to take their time because they don't want to get in a more mismatched relationship. So, am I willing to get to know them more? Are they willing to get to know me more? And we'll see how things go. And if it's a workplace, I would say the workplace likes how they view you, that, you're someone they want to keep moving forward with. Okay, let's go look at the bottom row. In the bottom row, some people maybe haven't learned to love themselves. Some people might be tipped out of balance, is what the bottom row can mean, where, they could have these things that more manipulate them. And they're going to go on a journey, and we'll all repeat a certain pattern until we've kind of learned to love ourselves, to realize this keeps me repeating a pattern. And if I want my life to move forward, I need to see the truth of it, and I need to offer myself love to face my fears, to pick up my investment in habits, vices, patterns, jobs, friendships, relationships, ways of viewing myself, ways of viewing the world, whatever it is. I need to, if I don't kind of see the truth of something, which the pentacle can be about the truth, I'm going to keep repeating this pattern, and people will repeat that for a long time until they're willing to make that decision in the judgment card. And then they could realize that this is a significant card about something they maybe hadn't wanted to see, that they were harnessing it in a more worldly, shadowy way instead of a more high vibrational way. And eventually they worked through it. And then they were willing to take that leap of faith to face their fears and move forward in life differently. What is the card? The Lover's card. So the Lover's card is Gemini, about our dualistic nature. Part of it can be, if you're a very loving person, you just think the Fool is like mostly like fire sign energy. You're motivated and inspired by love. You're motivated and inspired to kind of like heal and grow and mature yourself and face your fears, and maybe don't like it when you realize that things within you manipulate you, things and people outside of you manipulate you, and you don't like that. And out of love for yourself, because Aries energy is about the self. And the Fool card also has some Aquarius and Pisces aspects to it. which can both be about our dreams, and one is mentally, Aquarius is air sign energy of the mind, and Pisces is emotional water sign energy. Again, trying to find that balance that mentally some of these things I could enjoy, I like, but emotionally, I don't want to do just what seems more practical and logical, because I do have my emotional nature. And that's why I kind of really like this card, because the earth sign energies are on the opposite side of the zodiac wheel from the water sign energies. And so it's like we'll kind of go out and tip out of balance, kind of being in extremes, learning those lessons. Like we make too much of these things of the world, then we might let our emotional nature run our life too much. And it's like trying to get balance within ourselves, to have a balance of both. And then in our fire sign energy, from our mind, some of these things make logical, practical sense. But again, in Pisces, in our emotional nature, these other things are things we want to take into consideration. And we just kind of really maybe had to get clear in our Gemini dualistic nature, going on these different adventures, learning these lessons in life. What is more aligned with my truth? Do I want to keep repeating old patterns? Am I willing to face my fears, to kind of be more independent, live my more authentic life? Um, in a way, it kind of makes me think of when we're young adults and we're leaving home. It can be really hard to become more independent of our family. Does that mean we don't love those people? We can still love them, but I need to face my fears to be more independent. And so kind of quit being in a more codependent relationship. And then we have to learn to love ourselves and invest in ourselves. And it's kind of like taking over that role within ourselves. And that's what also kind of gets us out of more codependent energy, is I need to learn to play that role within myself. I need to be like a good mother, father, coach voice to myself. And I'm going to go on this experience in life, and I need to learn lessons along the way and see what is moving my life forward, what isn't moving my life forward, what kind of gets me tipped out of balance. How do I need to get more balance within myself? More shadowy people in the world and worldly focused people are going to want me to be more tipped in favor of being more about them or myself or these things of the world or things I indulge in. Loving people in my life want me to be more balanced. What is my truth? And that's kind of what Gemini is about. And some people are still on the journey. Other people have gotten kind of clear about their truth. I mean, some people from the time they were young adults, knew that they're more motivated and inspired by love, less manipulated by the ego or the image or being about themselves. In a world of duality, there are some people who have known from a young age they are more about themselves and these things of the world. And that's their truth. And, for the people who've already kind of picked their path, odds are they're going to stay there. Now, there can be a lot of people in the world who kind of haven't decided yet, and, they're still on that journey of trying to decide what their truth is. And, we can get in relationships with those people. And with this card not showing itself, with some of the people we didn't realize we harnessed our Gemini energy differently. But they were more about themselves for the world, and we were more about love. And of course, when that's how we view life and we think, duh, of course, the high vibe people are like, well, everybody's motivated by love. And if people get in a relationship and they're in relationships with people who love them, of course, they do love. Not the people who don't want to do love. You are like the devil. You are the danger zone. They get hurt doing that. And they could move forward in a relationship so long as you're willing to let them juggle the truth. The truth is, it should be about love. And love is to be just and fair. And some people are like, well, that's not really my truth. But if you want to keep juggling the truth with me and let me juggle the truth, I'll keep being in a relationship with you. And eventually the high vibe people are like, but I do want to be in a relationship with someone who's authentically motivated and inspired by love, not acts like love, quacks like love, talks like love, because that's kind of someone who's just indulging in it. It's not really, you can't have a deep, meaningful relationship with someone who hasn't freed themselves from their more self protected, defensive nature, which is kind of being more about themselves, to do a more just, fair, balanced, emotionally mature relationship. And so some people realize that, and it's like, I'm going to let you go do that with someone else. I am willing to face my fears. I want to go find someone in the world who I think is more free of their ego or defensive nature and or immature nature, etc. To find someone who I can have more equal give and take with, not where it's more mismatched. And so with some people, we just realized we completely operate from different foundational truths. And of course, the other people who could be more just inspired by the world, we should get in a relationship. This makes logical, practical sense. I like you, you like me. This looks victorious and successful. Oh my gosh. We have what other people have in the world. Because that's how they view life. It's kind of it's more about those things. And it's not really motivated by love. It's more, I want to be in a relationship. I want to look victorious and successful, or to whatever degree they view as victorious and successful. And we should just keep doing this. And let's keep juggling the truth that it should be really motivated and inspired by love. And with those people, some people got out of those more mismatched relationships. And that could have been part of the journey. Now for some people, it could be to get in relationships with people where, there's more of a possibility things could work out because some people are open to love, but maybe a little fearful of love. But anyway, let's go back to the bottom row. We start out with the Hermit, the Six of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and the Judgment card. So some people are hiding that, they're hiding the truth. Virgo is about going within to get to the truth. But some people are like, no, I don't want to go within and look at these things that manipulate me. But I do want to be in a relationship. So the Knight of Wands can be, I want to be in a relationship. I want to exchange time, energy, effort, and resources with people in the Six of Pentacles. That's kind of their idea. Let's do this. I've decided I want to do that. And they might be looking to get in a relationship with someone who doesn't either know the truth about them or hasn't learned that lesson in life, that could be a very just, fair, loving person, but hasn't learned that, and accepted the truth that in a world of duality, not everybody's motivated and inspired by love. And that some people, shadowy fire sign energy here, and especially the Knight of Wands depicts that. It's people who harness a more immature fire sign nature within themselves. And they might have no interest in learning these lessons growing up because you have to temper your more immature egoic nature. Then you'd have to be willing to see the truth of how you're kind of more immature in some way, or bossy or controlling or stubborn or prideful or lazy or whatever it is, and they don't want to see the truth. They do not want to be held accountable for their actions, which is probably why some other people fired them or left that workplace or left that friendship or relationship. But they don't want people to know why probably those other relationships didn't work out. Shadowy energy is basically trying to deceive people about the truth of who they are. And so then they go try to find someone else who doesn't either know the truth of them or hasn't learned this lesson in life and is just a very loving, hopeful, believing person that believes everybody is motivated and inspired by love, and try to get that person to get in a relationship with them. For as long as that person is willing to stay in that relationship, and as long as they can kind of maybe hide their more shadowy aspects. But, if people really haven't learned those lessons in life, it's like people who are really more, say, think it's just unfair to indulge themselves in immature behavior, or just unfair to try to get out of doing the work and get other people more to do the work, and they just, again, kind of get to indulge in the relationship. Some people, will work really hard to create this illusion about who they are, and some of them are doing it right now, trying to get someone to get in a relationship or a marriage with them. The King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married suit of the deck. And then they hope if they can get that person to more emotionally invest in them, then once they have them in that, well, and it could be a job too. Oh, you've got talent, skills, and interests. Yeah, we're kind of shadowy, but I'm not going to tell you the truth about that. We're these just and fair people. You should come work here. And then you go take that job. And then sometimes with some of the people, that's when they start to be more shadowy. And you realize they were hiding and creating an illusion, because the devil lies, about the truth of who they were. But then they're hoping, what will loving people do, maybe in friendships and relationships with people that at one time it seemed to be just and fair, and people were loving and encouraging and supportive of each other, and then someone starts to be a little more shadowy. Well, loving people can put in a lot of work and effort to try to maintain balance in the relationship and make things work. You'd kind of think that's a normal human being kind of thing, that, I just don't want, call judgment on someone immediately. I guess it depends on how egregious what they did was. But generally, people will try to temper themselves, tempering your more shadowy nature, to kind of keep harnessing these energies in a high vibe way, trying to inspire people, like, what's going on, why doesn't this seem to be moving forward? And and sometimes that's what shadowy, it's like it shifts the relationship dynamic into a way they like the relationship dynamic to be, when it was that they had to put in work and effort to be more just and fair and balanced. That really wasn't the truth of how they like to interact in a relationship. Then as time goes by, and especially get someone to get in a more formal commitment with them, get someone to take the job, then as time goes by, maybe kind of slowly, it's kind of taking some foolish risks in a relationship that aren't very loving, because they want to kind of indulge themselves. Kind of more, the Six of Pentacles is Taurus energy, kind of in their philosophy of life and what they think is just and fair. Even though they know that other people, the devil can just be that you're angry and you're mad. But they kind of think, oh, but they're really loving. They love me. I'm sure they'll keep, and then it can get worse and worse and worse. And then that becomes the new way of interacting in the relationship. It kind of sets a precedent. And then, if they did get someone to take the job, get in the friendship, have been in the friendship for a long time, be in the relationship, get in the marriage, then they're kind of hoping, because we can be tempted in our more worldly nature, we kind of go back and forth. And then, it's like the devil has us in a conundrum that, well, I do love these people and I would like this to work. And so you put in work and effort to make it work, and you do that for quite a while. And then eventually, it's kind of like, this is kind of toxic. It's not really love. It's more like someone trying to use the fact that I love them to manipulate me, or that I wanted this to work out and they know that, and I might want it more to work out because maybe, even just a friendship or relationship that you would like to have in your life more long term. And some other people seem like they'd be willing to let it go in a way, unless you chase after them and kind of make it more about kind of indulging them. And eventually it's kind of like, well, I don't think this is just and fair. And then people kind of do this work within themselves, kind of thinking, well, gee, I wonder if I didn't kind of chase after them, or it wasn't me kind of putting in more of the work and effort to keep moving this forward, would it even move forward or not? And if they don't really seem to be interested in equally putting in work and effort to move it forward, why am I staying in it? You know? And I want more just and fair and balanced and loving relationships. And then if people are doing things that don't seem to be, they could harness these energies in a shadowy way. The Empress is Libra and Taurus. Libra represented by the scales of justice, of what people think is fair. Well, anybody can have a certain way of viewing life and relationships, of how they treat people in a workplace, in a friendship, in a romantic relationship, in a family dynamic, in a community, in an organization, that they could think is just and fair. Maybe, or think they should be the more indulged, privileged person emotionally for some reason. I was like, well, that's not my philosophy of life, and I don't think that's just and fair. And they're like, well, so long as you're not willing to face your fears to pick up your investment and leave, then I guess you kind of are willing to do this. And it can take a long time to kind of work through all of that and love and believe in yourself. That it's like, nope, I'm calling judgment on them, Kind of maybe like a righteous anger. Enough is enough. And your shadowy nature kind of could come out, because enough is enough. And you call judgment on some people. If this isn't going to be more just and fair, and if people aren't willing to grow up and mature themselves, and high vibe energy is like being illuminated to the truth, and when someone is holding the one pentacle, it kind of means in high vibe, it means they saw the truth. Could I have people in my life, my adult child, brother, sister, mom, dad, long-term friend, people in my community, neighborhood, people I've known all my life, people at work, that I would like things to work out with? Yeah. If I feel like I have pretty much done everything I can to try to move things forward in a more just and fair way, being loving and encouraging, and, you know, and it just keeps not working out that way, eventually people are going to get angry, and it's like, enough's enough. I'm picking up my investment. I wish you peace. You enjoy that and enjoy whatever you're doing and whoever you want to do it with. And I'm picking up my investment, and I'm going to go find some people in the world, maybe again go invest in working just through my own fears and insecurities, to learn to love myself, to get more balance within myself so I don't repeat this pattern. Or go invest in a different job, or go invest in my unique talent, skills, or interest, or a new job. But I definitely want to be in things that are more balanced. And so I need to be more balanced, because in our fire sign energy, because there's these things of the world that we want to manifest, like friendship and relationships and jobs. Sometimes that kind of tips us out of balance, and we are kind of indulging kind of poor behavior in ourselves and others, and it's just kind of seeing the truth. If I want a certain type of life and relationships, I need to hold myself to that standard. And can I know lots of people, interact with a lot of people? Yes. Am I going to get in a more involved relationship with them? No. Can I enjoy their friendship, their company, hang out with them here and there? Wish them peace and love? Yeah. Am I going to get in a more involved relationship with them? No. you know? Um, no, I want to be free and have my options open for those of you that are single. That when I meet someone who does seem to be more on the same page as me, I don't want to have gotten myself tangled up in something that I maybe should have never gotten tangled up with to begin with. And, that's where some people could be right now. Instead of loving kind of and believing in themselves and maintaining balance within themselves until they did meet people who are more on the same page as them, which can be difficult. They kind of could gotten a more involved relationship with some people. And then what if they meet someone or someone reaches out to them or something that is someone who's more like on the same page as them? Well, then those people are kind of manipulated in their ego and their status and their image. They kind of maybe got in a relationship and created an illusion that this is my dream life. And, maybe really they were kind of indulging in something. And then, the fear of being judged. Well, I think living a life that's a lie isn't going to be good for anyone. And if we let our more worldly egoic nature kind of run our life, you can do that if you want. If it's not aligned with your truth, it's not aligned with your truth. Sometimes we get in things, and of course, we all had these lessons to learn. Everybody could have had the best of intentions, but we had some lessons to learn, and there too, sometimes during the course of some of these things, people can change. You're going down the path of life, and then slowly but surely, at different times you could have drifted your life off into the ditch. At different times other people could. We can be loving and encouraging to try to get it back up on the road again. And sometimes it doesn't get back up on the road again. And it's like, and we all can hope other people would change, but that can be us wanting to stay in denial of the truth. If we got in relationships with people who kind of, but again, thinking everybody's motivated and inspired by love, that they would work through those things. And if they had wanted to be someone who had worked through those things to be more free of those things that manipulate them, they would have already done it. So that's us kind of not wanting to see the truth. And so then we go on that life experience to kind of learn that lesson. And it's like, you can be a very just, fair, loving, and encouraging person. Doesn't have anything to do with you. If somebody wanted to temper their ego, temper their immature nature, their more codependent nature, people could be codependent on their friendship group, their original family. Some people, definitely more about themselves or things of the world. Are we willing to say, get out of our ego about it? Everybody is who they are. If you feel like you tried your best and you did the best you could, I can't change other people's free will. I can't make people grow up. I can't make people quit being manipulated by their own shadow nature or other people in their life. Get out of your ego. Go maintain balance within yourself. Love yourself. Invest in yourself. Work through your fears, your insecurities, and move on. What's coming up for some people who are harnessing some high vibe Capricorn energy right now? Okay, we'll take this one. A card not showing itself, and the reason it came out is because of the devil. Well, the devil can be, it's kind of like, us kind of in our pride and ego. We think we're so smart, and we're like, oh, I'm sure this will work out. Oh, I'm sure this is a good decision. Oh, I'm sure this will be fun. Oh, I'm sure this will make me happy. And we kind of go down the wrong path is what the devil can be. Well, all those things and experiences in our life were to help us, again, like all experiences, to help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. That's like in our Gemini. Is this your truth or isn't this your truth? Gemini is air sign energy of the mind, but it has to do with our dualistic nature. And because of the devil and all these, people who have challenged you to love and believe in yourself when you didn't, and people who you could have gotten in a relationship with when you didn't more love and believe in yourself, you know, all of those things have helped you free yourself, helped you get more balanced. And through this process, what some people in your life don't know about you is that you no longer harness this energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, because you did see how it wasn't moving your life forward in alignment with kind of like the dreams that you had for your life. And when you detach from harnessing this in a more worldly, shadowy way, you are willing to detach from those people that you could have hung out with living your life that way. The world. Oh, that's funny. Well, for one, the devil is about the world, trying to make your life more about the world. Love is trying to get you more to align with your more hopeful, believing, loving nature. Yes, what's that kind of Bible verse? What is it? Something like, well, something about like, don't be, oh, don't conform to the world. That can be shadowy energy. Conforming to the world, making your life all about the world, but instead be transformed by the renewing of your mind, which Gemini is air sign energy, and Libra is air sign energy, and Aquarius, that is about our dreams, is air sign energy. Don't give up your dreams. Do not let the world manipulate you and other people in the world who you could have love for. And again, we can have love for people and keep our distance from them. We can have love for people and not participate in certain activities and social things with them to such a degree that it throws our life out of balance. High vibe energy about balance is like moderation. The world also in the tarot deck talks about learning lessons. And when you are going on this journey in life, we have a lot of lessons to learn. We have more lessons to learn. And high vibe people in their fire sign energy are inspired to keep working through things that manipulate them at every stage of our life. When we went from 15, 18, 21 to 25, we had these certain ways of living life and viewing life. And then, but we didn't want to stay at those stages of life forever. It was a stage of life. And we can, any one of those stages of life, we might have liked to have stayed there because of our fear of picking up our investment in it and moving forward in life a little differently. But we keep growing and maturing ourselves doing that. And we kind of feel more proud of ourselves that, just like some people with anything. I learned how to ride a bike. I learned how to cook. I learned how to do my own laundry. I learned how to change my own tire. I learned how to do this. It frees you up to be less codependent because you're more kind of self-sufficient. And then you can also help other people. And as you help other people who might have some things that you still don't know or could help you learn some things, it's all this thing of trying to work together so that we can all keep shedding old layers of ourself and kind of like grow ourselves to our full potential. And so you're less about the world and inspired by the things of the world than you used to be. And some people, as they get to know you, could realize that. And they realize, oh shit, I can't tempt this person more by their lust, their greed, their pride, their ego, their want to be in a friendship or relationship to indulge me and kind of give up their truth, give up their dreams, and repeat an old pattern. No, those people will realize they got to go find someone else to do that with. That if they want to be in a relationship with you, it has to maintain balance within itself. And you have learned that lesson and learned to stand up for yourself, because if you don't, there's going to be people in the world that are going to be happy you don't. And there's going to be other people in the world who know you could repeat old patterns if you want. No, they could repeat old patterns if they want. They see you're not doing it. They don't really want to do it. And they want to see about being in a relationship with you. It's different. You know, if we're not used to being in relationships with people who treat us the way we treat them, that's different. It feels strange. I'm used to having people indulge me. I'm used to indulging people that are more immature or whatever. This is different. And it could be a little scary, but it also can be exciting and you can be attracted to people. And because you're kind of maintaining this balance within yourself and know your worth and value, it can make you kind of like a challenge to a lot of other people in a way. And also, as you invest in yourself and love yourself, maybe in your career or something, you could have a lot of these things of the world. You know, if that's in your education, in your intelligence, in your career, in your health, whatever, that other people could find you very attractive, is what the devil can be. And some other people who are repeating old patterns, other people who had gotten in relationships with people like that, uh, even if it was people who were willing to indulge them or just be in a relationship to be in a relationship, didn't require anything of them in a way, eventually that can get old too. And then it's like, you know what? I think I am ready to grow up, face my fears, and if I find this person attractive, stable, grounded, loving, why am I not in relationships with people like that? And being in relationships with workplaces, friendships, and relationships with people that are very victorious and successful by worldly standards, but it's not more of a worldly philosophy of life. It is more where it's like a loving and encouraging and supportive an environment that challenges everyone to love and believe in themselves and being encouraging, just like, you know, if a person gets in a really good work environment and versus being in a more shadowy, immature work environment or friendship group or relationship. So that looks really good. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Capricorn energy? So I think it'll end up that, you know, the whole thing is when we think we're so smart and we try to go about things maybe in a more immature way, trying to cheat the justice system, be more about ourselves, manipulate other people. The people who, the devil in shadow, which can be shadowy energy, is kind of the wanting quick results. Again, I'll indulge someone or I want someone to indulge me. I don't want to have to put in work and effort or grow and mature myself. But the people who do put in the work and effort, I think will really have some, just the fact that they're stable and grounded and love themselves. And, you know, a lot of people could be just jealous of that because they aren't feeling stable and grounded and love themselves, and they're having to indulge other people, or they refuse to do love, so they could know maybe the only reason people are in a relationship with them is because they're willing to exchange maybe financial resources with them, you know? I don't know that that's anything to be proud of. What's coming up for the people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Capricorn energy? And some of the shadowy people, that's kind of how they view life. They could be more of this kind of transactional type of person. Look, I look like I have justice in the world. I have this money, status, image, or look a certain way. or have the social clout. I bet people of the world would want to be in a relationship with me. I think they'll call judgment on loving and believing in themselves and being in more just and fair relationships because I'm willing to kind of indulge them being in a relationship with me and exchange whatever resources I have with them. Like I could have sex with them, I could share my social status or my friend group or my money or whatever with them. They could always be surprised when other people decide to leave. And maybe and they could indulge people. Oh, you can be immature. Oh, you can be this way. Oh, you can be that way. I don't really care. And they could be surprised when they go to get in a relationship with someone who doesn't indulge them in that way. You know, it's kind of like they're the opposite. And it's like, but I am willing to indulge you, or I'm willing to indulge you in your poor behavior. Why would you go get in a relationship with someone who maybe requires you to be more balanced, more just and fair? I didn't require that of you. I mean, it's kind of like the devil. Go indulge in everything. I don't care. You're doing great. You don't have to love yourself. You don't. Screw those people. You don't got to love yourself. You don't got to grow up. Fuck them. Man, we're going to have a blast. Let's do this. And it's just because, it doesn't give birth to anything new. Love gives birth to something new. It's the same shit over and over and over. Not really feeling proud of yourself. And some of the people could have a lot more than what some other people have, but the other people are just and fair and authentic and loving and encouraging. And, the other people also could be kind of shadowy. It's just like, I don't require you to grow up or mature yourself. I'll indulge you in your immature ways. And I guess the people who want to be in a relationship with people who are like that, they'll stay in it. And other people won't, because it's like, is anything ever going to change? Is this what we're going to do forever? Kind of wear a false mask, create the illusion of how wonderful our life is, but it's really kind of toxic. What's coming up for the shadowy people they might not see coming? The Queen of Wands, the Queen of Wands, the Two of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Hangman. Why? Because of the Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords is Gemini, about our dualistic nature. Well, again, shadowy people, maybe in the Queen of Wands, whether it's male or female, there could be things about them. The Queen of Wands can talk, it's fire sign energy. It could be attractive, charming. Again, they kind of wear a false mask. They could have money, status, image, social clout, all those things. It's just that they kind of harness that energy and use it in a more shadowy way. Yeah, there's always going to be people that would like to maybe be in a relationship with them. The Seven of Pentacles is about investing. The Two of Cups can be about wanting to be in a relationship. Anybody can be drawn and attracted to people and view them as someone they would like to get to know, to see about being in a relationship with. But if they're more high vibe, you expect that things are going to move forward. It doesn't just stay right here like forever. Are we ever, we've done this phase of the job or the relationship. Don't we ever complete a phase and we kind of pick up our investment in that phase to give birth to the next phase? Does it grow and mature over time? And eventually people could feel stuck in a relationship with some people, is what the Hangman can talk about. But they could have love for them. So then they, keep trying to get them to, maybe the Hangman could talk about looking at life from a different perspective. Like, could you try to see things from my perspective? I might have things I want to give birth to. You have things you want to give birth to, but Capricorn is also represented by the Three of Pentacles, which is like the one pentacle is that person's truth and dream, and then the other person has their truth and dream. And then together we're in a relationship and we're supposed to create that overarching dream together, working in the Three of Pentacles together to bring that dream into reality. And it keeps not happening because the other people are like, no, I want to do it like more my way. But that, of course, probably wasn't the illusion they created. Oh, no, I'm this I'm this just and fair and loving person, and you should get in a relationship with me, and we'll work together cooperatively to bring this dream into reality. But it keeps never coming into reality. And the Hangman is Pisces energy, which is part of the Fool card. I had a dream emotionally that things were going to grow and mature over time and maybe become a more deep, meaningful, mature relationship. That it wasn't just going to be in a relationship to be in a relationship or for these reasons of the world or whatever. I kind of thought we were going to give birth to something that was our kind of a compromise. And they realized kind of the other people really don't want to look at things from anybody else's perspective. Their truth is kind of more their way. And eventually other people see the truth of it and they communicate with them that I love you, but I can't keep investing in this because it never moves forward. And eventually those people move on. And those people move on, and because the people might be more about themselves or the world or their defensive nature or their immature nature or want to be indulged or be in a more transactional type relationship or don't want to be in a more formal commitment or don't want to have to grow up or temper their ego in any way, they're going to go find someone else that they think doesn't know the truth about them or hasn't learned the truth about people like them. And they're going to go try to get that person to move forward in a relationship and stay stuck in a relationship with them. They don't want to give birth to anything new. They're happy living their life the way they live it. Probably, and maybe don't want to be held accountable for their actions. Stay in the relationship until other people want you to take accountability for your actions. Or would like to go on a different kind of adventure. And then they're like, nope, I don't want to do that. You can go. I'm going to go find someone else. The problem is, with any relationship, we all kind of have to be willing to compromise, right? And people could be willing to compromise to a degree, but when it's kind of picking up their investment at a core foundational truth that they have of how they view life or relationships, and again, some in their philosophy of life is that it's this different idea of what they think is just and fair, that whoever has more kind of these things in the world that people want, that they get to be the more privileged, indulged person in the relationship. And because they think that way, they also might not be willing to do love, because if they were really to let themselves love someone, they could be afraid that those people think like they do. It's just that what those people use is love, and they could be very afraid of people using the love that they have for them to manipulate them. So they just won't let themselves really more authentically invest in people emotionally. And what they just don't realize is other people don't think that way. 50% of the people in the world don't have that Taurus philosophy of life. They kind of do have more hope and faith and belief in themselves and in others and in love. And it's about working together with people cooperatively and, standing up for yourself and standing up for your truth and not being, that if people seem to be a little shadowy or whatever, you can call them on it and your worth and value enough that, you're willing to leave that job, that friendship, that relationship if they are. And maybe some people just feel like, I don't know, it would be even harder for them to get out of it or something. So instead of even getting in it, they just sacrifice doing love relationships. I think ultimately they'll be surrounded by, different strokes for different folks. I think if they try to get in relationships with more high vibrational people, the high vibrational people will eventually leave. And eventually they'll just be surrounded by people who are more like them. Well, I had people wanting me to temper my ego or grow up or put in more work and effort or do love, and I know I don't want to do that. And if they can work out some kind of compromise and maybe they're kind of on the same level and maybe they're both kind of defensive to love and maybe are more, the truth is they're more motivated. I view the Queen of Wands as Leo, so in shadowy Leo, that anyone can harness. They're more about the worldly egoic nature. I want to be in a relationship. I want to be in a relationship. We should be in a relationship. And we'll stay in a relationship. And we might even stay stuck in it until anybody else comes along. But if nobody else comes along, then I guess we'll stay in it because we want to be in a relationship. And we're not willing to be more independent and go invest in our truth. And maybe everybody just stays in it until someone else comes along. And then, oh, sorry, later I'm going to go. This person has more money, more status, more image, more fear. They'll indulge me more, require less of me. If you're, that's why you have to build a solid foundation on love to have the most best outcome, better odds, right? I mean, there's no guarantee. Again, people can kind of drive their life off into the ditch. But some people are building their life on shifting sand, but they don't want to see it. But because they're not willing to budge, maybe, then they either have to find someone who is just willing to stay in a relationship, which again, I don't know if that's anything to be proud of. Oh, well, they're fearful of being more independent. They're more codependent. They're willing to stay in a relationship with me. Well, isn't that something to be proud of? Other people could have people who are really attracted to them and really motivated and inspired by them that really want to maintain balance and be in a relationship with them. And some people could say, I don't care, just so long as I have someone who stays in a relationship with me. And some of them could feel stuck in it. Some of them are actually defensive to some of the people they're in a relationship with. But if I don't think they're going anywhere, well, then by golly, I'll stay in the relationship because I don't want to get in a relationship with someone who is more bold and brave and confident within themselves. Anyway, I also got a card out from The Cost of Becoming, and we got Numbing Faded, Reality Stepped In. So the iceberg up there can kind of be our fears and insecurities. Hopefully we work through them over time, and hopefully we start to see through these things that manipulate us in our worldly egoic nature, and we start to look at life differently, and we get tired of repeating old patterns. And then it can be the water, which is kind of the emotionally intuitive realm, that we start more connecting with. This ice could also be when we were kind of living more from our mind than our heart, and we start to get more balance within ourselves. And as we go on this journey, to start listening more to our intuition and love and believe in ourselves, and then we free ourselves from certain cycles. Well, some people do, some people don't. So there you go, Capricorn. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.